Alright guys, welcome once again to Legends of Evil, where I talk about villains outside of the comic book genre. And today, I'm going to be talking about, as you can see right here, Grand Moff Tarkin. Now, Tarkin is an interesting character because while he only appeared in one film, he was a very enigmatic character, and mostly that was because of Peter Cushing's performance as this character. And in that, I think that's why a lot of people like him, is because of how that actor is such a classic actor, portrayed such an iconic villain. Even though, yes, again, he only appeared in one film before dead. So, is there anything big to talk about the Grand Moff? So, yeah, actually there is. Thank you, James Lucino, for bringing up for doing a whole not in-canon novel. Keep in mind, everything that I'm going to be talking about here is completely and also just totally in canon with Tarkin. Now, Tarkin grew up on the Outer Rim planet known as Ari Adu. Ari Adu was a planet that was trying to get into the core worlds. The core world, they had a lot of mining facilities and a lot of minerals like cortosis and durasteel that they could roughly mine, and the core worlds wanted them. The main houses, the planet of Ari Adu was more or less a frontier planet. Ari Adu, the best way to describe it was that it was a planet that is similar to like what the Old West was, where there was so much wealth and minerals and whatnot out there, that the core world exploration teams discovered the Ari Adu, and the people there were like, guess what we got, bitches, that you need. So, some families prospered from this expansion. One of those families was the Tarkins. The Tarkin family would even before Wilif was born, the Tarkin family had quintessentially tamed Ari Adu. Ari Adu was, like I said, a very frontier planet, and the Tarkin family had more or less tamed it. They were a major house, and when the mining when the core worlds took up mining, the Tarkin family was first and foremost to get a lot of that wealth. The Tarkin family was also responsible for building coalitions and militias to protect the world, protect their planet as well as the neighboring systems from pirates and smugglers. So yeah, the Tarkin family had quintessentially become almost like the Starks, in a way, of the Senrana system, that's the name of the system Ari Adu was a part of. So on Ari Adu, the Tarkin family had grown into wealth and power, but at the same time they realized, we earned all this because we wanted it. We got it because we didn't just bend over and just got lucky. No, we fought for this. So that was the big thing with his parents, was that when Wilif was still a child, they would make sure that it got into his head that, you didn't earn, you're not going to be some spoiled child. You're going to learn that, this all came through, power and how to get it. And it was very interesting because it wasn't abuse in a way. In their own mind, it wasn't abuse, and Tarkin never saw it as abuse as a child. He never saw it that way. What he did see, however, was in a weird way, even as a kid, like 6 years old, he would understand that at the dinner table, whenever they would talk to him and tell him these things, he would be like, "Oh, I understand." And the big thing they drilled in was that the Tarkin family commanded that respect because we earned it, and that was the big thing. And even further on, and I'll get into this point later, is that as a Tarkin, Wilif had to understand that, with being in this family bloodline, you needed to, command respect as well as put down. The Tarkin family is also responsible for taking down adversaries that would rebel against their normal government. And this played into his life well into his Imperial days. So, when he was about 11 years old, his great-uncle Jova, along with a pair of Rhodians, ended up at their house and took him to this place called the Carrion Spike, which is this plateau on Ari Adu, which is just nothing but wilderness. And for years, he grew up learning how to hunt and fight, and he never complained about it. He hated it, don't get me wrong, he hated it, but he never complained about it, and his great-uncle Jova always told him you know, how the Tarkin family needed to be that symbol of order, or chaos would just completely rule. And again, that played into his life in the days of the Imperial, because the Empire represented order, and the rebellion, you know, they were nothing but chaos. And that's, you know, bluntly speaking, that's how he more or less saw the rebellion. It was just nothing but a bunch of unruly, chaotic soldiers trying to disrupt order and peace in his mind that the Empire had. So that was how he saw it, and it started all there on the Carrion Spike. So after getting his final initiation, which I do not want to spoil, his final days on the Carrion during the days of the Carrion, you'd have to read the novel. Eventually, he joined the militia, and alongside his cousin Randolph, they hunted down a pirate who was once a mistress to a nobleman. They hunted down this pirate, tortured her on the HoloNet to send a message, and eventually, and keep in mind, he was about 18 years old when he did this, and then eventually he found his way into the enlisting into the Republic Navy, which was the ships, where he served under Jedi Master Peel. And of course, if you've seen the story revolving around the Breakout, I can't remember the name of the episodes, but it was 3 episodes where he and Jedi Master Peel, along with their soldiers, were captured and taken to the Spire, or the Spire. I can't remember what the fuck it's called, until Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka, and along with several of the best clone troopers, came in, got them out, and however, sadly, Master Peel died, and what they were carrying were these hyperspace coordinates that one half was given to Peel, the other half was given to Tarkin. Now, Tarkin had was supposed to give this all to Palpatine, while Ahsoka, when Peel died, she transferred the coordinates to him, and eventually that was a kind of a sticky situation. Even at a young age, Palpatine groomed Tarkin to be a better soldier. He had all these contacts that he would give him, because he saw that he was the type of soldier and leader that he needed for when he was to create the Empire. So Palpatine took Tarkin under his wing and trained him in everything he knew. Eventually, the fall of the fall of the Jedi happened. The Order 66 came in, and Tarkin stood alongside the Empire and Vader, and now the Emperor, and they created this dark trinity. Tarkin was the military face of the Empire. Vader was the fist, but Tarkin was the one who guided that fist, in a sense. And the big thing here was that when the Jedi were killed off, Tarkin himself kind of was yeah, they never had a place in this war to begin with, because it never really made sense to him that a group of peacekeepers should be made generals in a flat-out war against people who have rebelled against order. That's how he always saw it. So eventually, he was after the Clone Wars had officially ended, the Emperor promoted Tarkin to be one of the first Grand Moffs. There were 20 in the beginning, and he was the first, and put him on the project that we all know to be the Death Star. It was through this that he also he eventually was put on the project, and for 20 years he was tasked with making sure the Death Star was built in a secret location on Geonosis. Eventually, of course, the Death Star was constructed, and Tarkin was the head of it, along with several other leading members like Tag and several other high-ranking members in the Empire. Following that story, of course, we all know how that went. He single-handedly ordered the annihilation of Alderaan, as well as he more or less was planning to destroy Yavin 4. However, his arrogance got the better of him, and he was killed when Luke destroyed the Death Star. Tarkin, however, remained to be a image that a lot of Imperial soldiers, both from foot soldiers to even other Moffs, really respected and tried to follow in his footsteps. While Vader was the only person that Tarkin ever respected. Him and Vader, they were not as antagonistic towards one another. They started out that way because they saw each other as rivals for the Emperor's attention. but eventually they became, staunch allies. I wouldn't say like buddy-buddy, but they had a lot of respect for one another. And while while Vader didn't quintessentially grieve for his death, he did, in the comics, especially in the recent comics by Karen Gillan, he did mention that while Tarkin's plan was a little too grand, he did admit that he had vision and he had drive that would be commendable. So that was the big thing with Tarkin, was that he left an image that very few people, only not in the military, not Vader or Palpatine, but in the Imperial military, that just could not be matched. So that's pretty much the story of Grand Moff Tarkin. So you guys tell me, what do you guys think of Tarkin as a character on a whole? Do you guys like him, hate him? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.